Now, undeterred by his court appearance in Washington, in fact, probably bolstered by it, Donald Trump returned to the campaign trail tonight. He was laying into his fellow Republican challengers as much as President Biden. One of them, his main rival, Governor Ron DeSantis, sacked his campaign manager as he fails to make any inroads into Mr. Trump's lead in the Republican race.
Those prosecuting Donald Trump tried to issue a protective order that would ban him from speaking publicly about the latest charges he faces. But as we've come to know, Trump doesn't do silent.
I will talk about it. I will. They're not taking away my First Amendment right.
This was his first public appearance since he rejected the terms of that protective order. He unleashed with characteristic defiance, and the New Hampshire crowd lapped it up.
How can my corrupt political opponent, crooked Joe Biden, put me on trial during an election campaign that I'm winning by a lot, but forcing me nevertheless to spend time and money away from the campaign trail in order to fight bogus, made-up accusations and charges? That's what they're doing.
Trump's rivals in this primary race are now struggling to get a look in.
And how are you doing?
His closest runner, Ron DeSantis, today sacked his campaign manager. This is now his third major reshuffle, trying to breathe some life back into his candidacy bid. But Trump has a huge lead in the polls across the US heading into those Republican primaries next year. In New Hampshire, he now has a 24 percentage point lead over DeSantis. It's an even wider gap in Iowa, where candidates will meet their first real test in the January caucus. And in South Carolina, Trump's support is again in the mid-40s, while DeSantis is stubbornly stuck at 17%. The only poll that matters, though, is next year's presidential election. Indications are Donald Trump and Joe Biden are still neck and neck. The US president was today in Arizona touting his party's climate credentials. Meanwhile, a fourth potential indictment against Donald Trump could be announced this week, also relating to alleged election interference. Security around the Fulton County Courthouse is tightening, barricades preparing for protest. But the former president embraces all of this.
Every time you get indicted, I like to check the polls because one more indictment that I think this election's over.
It is Trump against the establishment.
One more.
And Peter joins me. Well, Peter, you said it there. Trump against the establishment, although, of course, he has been president. So in one sense, he is the establishment. Look, Ron DeSantis sacking his campaign manager doesn't exactly speak of a man whose campaign is going well, does it?
Absolutely not, Tom. I mean, this is now a one-horse race. And actually some news just as we come on air tonight. Donald Trump has sent an email, a fundraising email to his supporters saying, all signs indicate that your favourite president, whose only offence is challenging the political ruling class, may be indicted yet again as an innocent man. He is, of course, referring to that potential fourth indictment from Fulton County, Georgia, where he's accused of electoral interference, phoning up a Georgia official, asking him if he could find him an extra 11,000 or so votes. Of course, Donald Trump denies any wrongdoing. But when we talk now, Tom, about potential fourth indictments, this is all starting to feel almost routine. And the important context here, of course, to stress is that until this year, no former president had ever been indicted even once. But Donald Trump's wearing them as a badge of honour. The more the indictments stack up, the more he sees it as paving his way back into the White House. Yes, it's having a financial impact in his campaigning, it's taking its toll, but the more he's indicted, the more the fundraising comes in thick and fast. He's seeing his supporters willing to back this brand Trump, this anti-establishment billionaire. And to that end, it's providing Donald Trump with the kind of political advertising that money simply can't buy.